What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Ho to Husband Podcast. I'm your host, Terry Duran. I got both of my co-hosts on the line with me tonight. I got my man, Jay Bava in the building. What's good, man?
Not much going on tonight, fellas. Definitely looking forward to getting into this episode. Got a great show lined up, but want to quickly remind you, you can catch us on TikTok as well as subscribe to us on YouTube at Ho to Husband Podcast. And those for you interested in promos or shout-outs, you can shoot us a DM on IG at Ho to Husband Podcast, as well as emails at hoetohusbandpodcast@gmail.com. All right, T.
I also got my man SD in the building. What's with you?
Nothing, man. Just a little tired from work, but I'm gonna be all right. But first, I want to give a shout out to Brother Soul Productions for always keeping the background audio fresh. And I want to remind you all to donate to the Ho to Husband Podcast on Cash App and PayPal. All right, T.
I want to remind everybody that y'all can catch the audio playback of the podcast every Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on thecore94.com. Tonight's episode is titled Part of the Game, where we're going to be having a discussion about how being in the entertainment industry impacts dating and relationships. But y'all know how we do around here, man. We like to discuss stuff that we've seen go viral or seen on our timelines. So we got two interesting topics or videos to discuss today. This first video is a clip from the Hard to Soft Pod with our guy Tahoe and his people talking about condom use. Let's take a look.
A lot of niggas, you use that box of condoms, and that's it. You use that first box of condoms that you get to impress shorty and say, like, you know what, I use condoms
Well, you
too.
go through the box. I use one, and I just look at the rest like.
I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of amassed condoms in my crib from just that.
What?
You'll buy a box of 3, use one, and
The rest is there for decoration. I like you only use the first one to show that you got a little bit of decorum.
So you use it for her. And
That's
that's niggas'
for
problem.
me.
I mean, it's for both of us. If she don't demand that I at least use the first one, I'm gonna look at her funny. Like you're not even gonna make me use the first one. At least after the first one, we kind of got a little bit of bond. You know what I'm saying? Like we built a little bit.
she got something to lose.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if she don't make you use a condom on the first go round, she ain't got nothing to lose. That's scary.
And so what happens? What's the understanding on the second or third one?
We make eye contact and don't say nothing.
Man, now when I first saw this clip, man, I laughed because it reminded me of a lot of the cats that I've come across throughout the military and college, where they didn't like using rubbers. You know what I'm saying? Like now, obviously everybody has slipped up and went wrong. You know what I mean? Like I ain't gonna make it seem like I've never done it, but this use one condom to fool the chick philosophy. That wasn't me, man. It took if I was smashing chick for several months, that's when we would get to the raw. So I thought that was real funny to hear.
I think it's nasty. I don't think it's funny. That's just me, man, because look, y'all know, like I was living with a woman for 2+ years, almost 3 years, and never hit her raw, not one time. Not the tip, nothing. Not one time.
That's disciplinary.
Because I had a kid, my first jump at 17. I had a kid. Then when I decided to do it again at 31, bang, I had another kid. I'm like, man, you know what? Man, forget this.
So I ain't have a day left.
I didn't know that was the timeline.
Like it was other things factored into that second kid that I won't say on camera. As far as why it came out, like, you know what I'm saying, with the child and all that type stuff. But I ain't gonna do that on camera. But so for me, when I was in that relationship for almost 3 years, that's all I could think about. You know what I'm saying? All I could think about. You know how much I will have paid for kids by the time in 7 years when my son turned 18? 1.2 million. Wow. 1.2 million I will have paid out of pocket, taxed on me into women's pockets. And it's all good. Like, I ain't upset about it. It's cool. I do okay.
That's a lot of bread, man. That's a lot of cheese. Well, okay. I can understand why you have such a strict policy. What you think, Jay, or what's your policy on condom use?
I've been in that boat before, but I'm like you. I try to build that rapport and wait several months before going raw. Now, that's not to say I haven't rolled the dice a few times. I have in my younger days. Not proud of that. You know, the closest I came was just a pregnancy scare. I think I'm pregnant. Honestly, that's the worst of. I feel like it's even worse than somebody saying I'm actually pregnant because you got so many anxieties. You wait until to get the pregnancy test and tell you if she is or isn't.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing about it is, I remember me and my best friend would have conversations about this, but it didn't really hit me, like promiscuous behavior and all that until I went into the military and we did that first HIV test. And so I remember like trying to go through my list at the time and thinking I was like just so nervous over it, you know what I mean? And so ever since then, once I knew I was clean, I had a different perspective. Plus the responsibility. I wasn't trying to, get some chick knocked up in another state or somebody that I wasn't actually in a relationship with. So that's the reason, the biggest reason that I'm against that type of lifestyle where you're in a race to get to raw dogging like that. That's not that don't math up to me.
Talk about that one with the HIV test they do right before you go in. You talking about that one?
I think it was right. Like when your data enlist comes up, you go to the MEP station and they do all your blood work and all. That was my first time taking the HIV test, and they ask you the questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, have you ever done this? Have you ever done that? And so I'm thinking like they're like, how many times have you had sex? And like just have you used the needle and all this type of stuff. I'm like, oh man, am I And then that was back then in 1996 where you didn't get instant results. So it was like a couple of weeks of nervousness,
Man, listen, I ain't never go to the military, but you know what I do? I go to the doctor faithfully every year, couple times a year. That's right. I got test results from years and years and years, and I request a woman's also. If I'm dealing with a woman, even though now I have a vasectomy, so I ain't really worried about no kids. But at the same time, I refuse to be 43 years old and hop out here and get burnt or get something worse. Like, absolutely not. Like, you gotta come with your my chart. So I don't understand how dudes can be that way where they like, yeah, I might have the condoms for show. Man, you don't really know these people. Like, I don't know how men can move, or anybody, even the women that don't know these dudes because they in it too. Like, you don't really know them. You ain't got no information. Most people ain't exchanging information. Man. Most dudes don't even go to the doctor.
And a lot of times they know them by a nickname or from social media or something like that. Like they don't know your government or your background. Yeah, it is reckless, man. Like I said, I'm one of the only people that I know that actually planned their first child. You know what I'm saying? Like, so to see, I don't understand it either. Like, to me, all those pregnancy commercials and teenage pregnancy ads we saw growing up, man, they're registered with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so,
but even though I was in the whole phase and stuff like that, I was a safe hoe for the most part. You know what I'm saying? I was like, you know what I mean? It's just something that stuck with me because the times that I got caught. You know what I'm saying? I got caught slipping like that. So it's just something that I can't do. Yeah, I've had women lie on me and say certain things about me that wasn't true and all this other stuff. And I'm like, yo, man, you know what? The best way that I can protect me is to require certain things from them and still protect myself in the process. So these dudes like playing, like they my guys, they playing Russian roulette with having kids and catching an STD, and I just ain't built like that.
That's crazy. That's crazy. You said that. I've heard what some folks do is, they'll initially put the condom on, and while in the middle of it, take the condom off.
Nah, hey, that's a crime. That's a crime in some places. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's called stealthing or something like that. Okay. But yeah, that's a crime in some places. I never heard of that. But like, fellas, we got so many ways for you to meet women these days, and it's so easy to get sex. Plus, there's so many women that are doing it for financial benefit. So if a woman is just willing to smash a dude or let a dude do whatever to her just because he got bread or he got on jewelry and all that, man, you got to be a damn fool to be going up in that raw, even if she's fine. You know what I mean? Like, so you got to move a little more careful these days.
A lot of these dudes ain't got no dick discipline, especially when it comes to a decent looking woman. Like, they ain't never really dealt with a chick. She gonna let them hit raw. Like, I just seen on social media, you know, one of the famous red pill guys caught up in a situation with a pretty chick having a baby and all this other stuff. Like, man, how do you get caught up in that? Like, just being reckless and not having no discipline of your hormones and of your loins is what they used to call it back in the day. But you know, that gets us in trouble. Like, a woman's emotions get her in trouble. Our hormones get us in trouble more times than not. So, you know,
it's the reason there's most of the time tension between men is over that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it has something to do with pussy or some woman is usually involved.
Did you see the dude that got killed at the church on Easter?
I saw a clip, a headline of it, but it was kind of confusing. I didn't really get the details.
Yeah, the dude was sleeping with the guy's ex-wife. They got into it at the church, and the side dude pulled out a gun, shot the ex-husband, killed him at the church. Yeah, over this here chick. Like, you know, man, dudes be crashing out. They be crashing out over these chicks, man. So, you know, you gotta protect yourself and always keep your emotions in check and use a level head, the right level head. And
plus, having raw sex is much more likely to lead a woman to catch feelings. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I know this was kind of backwards thinking, but I was very cautious about tongue kissing. Like, I wasn't just kissing on everybody. If I was kissing a chick, that meant I smashed chicks for years and never kissed them.
Never kissed them.
So to me, that was like more intimate. You know what I'm saying? Like, than just, what? I get it. I'm just saying, like, sex is like, but kissing.
Wait a minute.
I actually like you to be tongue kissing a chick.
Wait a minute. Did you give them head?
Some of them, yeah.
Oh, so wait a minute. Time out.
I know where this is going.
This is diabolical. My man say, tongue kissing is intimate. But sticking his tongue in a vaginal canal, that's not as intimate. And don't think that he didn't swipe down and give a little rim or two probably in them young days.
Oh, yeah.
But
I get it. The logic ain't logicking, but that's the way I looked at it. Like, it was mostly and it's crazy because I actually love kissing, but it was how women will react to it. You blowing the chick back out and tongue kissing her, she's gonna be in love, and it's gonna be a situation that when you in your whole phase, that's problematic. You know what I mean? Like, so
which would messy. Fall in love more? If you just kiss them and don't smash them, or if you smash them and don't kiss them, which one gonna make them catch feelings more, Terry?
Man, I will have the discussions with them first.
No, I don't care. You and I both know. We both know.
I gave disclaimers. I'm single. You know what I'm saying? I gave all those I was very transparent about where I stood on it. So I let them choose. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
But you let them give you head though.
Yeah. I mean, I let them do whatever they wanted to do. I just, like I said, I started it off. Jay, didn't I say I know this is illogical when I started? I knew.
Yep. You said it. Hey, you put the disclaimer out there before you said it. You did make that disclaimer that, hey, the logic ain't gonna logic there. So we already know that the logic is a bit distorted here.
He is a dirt bag. I can't believe what I'm hearing.
SD, what you saying is a medicine society?
He's a minute. He is, man. He was. I ain't gonna say he is. He was.
Former.
This a married man over here.
Yeah, that's why I gotta say that. That's why I gotta preface what I'm saying, man. I don't want to get nobody in trouble by talking like it's present tense, and it's not. So go ahead.
All right, man. Let's keep things rolling, man. This next video was a clip, I believe, from 8 at the Table, where they're talking about the difference between flirting and harassment from the view of women. Let's take a look.
One man's flirt, depending on how he looks and presents, is another man's sexual harassment.
Yes.
And we are not doing a good job as women being able to explain why it's sexual harassment versus being an attractive opportunity. Men are frustrated. Men are not understanding what is the difference and why am I a threat if I'm being kind to you. So because of your behavior, women, I am now going to pull back my finances and resources. I'm now going to reduce my presence. I'm going to reduce my intentions, my efforts, because I don't want what my intentions are in terms of creating connection with you to be misconstrued as sexual harassment because you don't like how I look. I'm not your type.
Yeah. It's funny, you know, we see a lot of times where we'll put up polls on our stories, and you can kind of catch or highlight the hypocritical nature of a lot of women, because they'll talk to you about, you know, how can a guy approach a woman and all that, but in their brain they're only talking about how the guys that they're attracted to can approach. You know what I mean? Like they don't tell you that part, but when women are responding to those type of things, they're completely ignoring the men that they're not attracted to. So yeah, it can be very tricky to learn the best way to approach women because there ain't no right way to do it.
Man, look, the only dudes that's really frustrated with this is the facially challenged dudes. That's lames and can't get women. I'm not frustrated with it at all. I approach the women that I want to approach because, I mean, sexual harassment to me sounds like something at the workplace. You shouldn't be trying to talk to women you work with anyway. That's just my philosophy on it. But if I'm outside and I'm talking to a chick, I see a chick I want to talk to, I'm going to go talk to her. As long as you being respectful, you ain't grabbing on her arm, grabbing on her hand, grabbing on her booty, whatever the case, trying to get her attention, then
being thirsty.
She shouldn't have a reason to say anything about sexual harassment. Now, if you're talking about the workplace, that's a whole different ball game. You know what I'm saying? How you approach women and all that type of stuff. I don't recommend it. I've never talked to a woman at work, and I will not talk to a woman at work because things can get misconstrued very easily, and you don't know how they are going to take it. And before you know it, you're sitting up in HR with an issue on your hands that can cost you your job. And so therefore, for me, it's not that serious. But outside, man, I'm approaching women. If I want to approach her, I'm going to be respectful. If she got a problem with that, man, forget her. I ain't going to touch her or nothing like that. So no man should be worried about that if they not being disrespectful to the chick or grabbing her or anything like that. But we all know that women have a certain set of rules for the men they like and a certain set of rules for the men they don't like. It's always been that way. Like they'll tell you they won't sleep with a dude on the first date. Yeah, all right, put they type in front of him and like, come on, put they type in front of him where they think he flying, he got muscles, or he got money, or he whatever. He drive a Hellcat. Man, them panties gonna fall quicker than that bridge in Maryland. Man, them panties gonna fall. Like that's just what it is.
Yeah. What I took from it, I was thinking more along the lines of office flirting. You know, flirting at the job. Because I think only thing office flirting is only acceptable if she likes you back. Otherwise, it is harassment. You know.
Yeah.
And that's why you really, like SD said, you really got to be careful with that. Like all the jobs I worked, I ain't never really tried to flirt with them. Actually, you know what's crazy? Me not flirt, it'd be them trying to flirt with me or throw themselves at me or throw like little innuendos. Yeah, that's the crazy part about that.
Well, yeah, I've definitely seen the downside of the office flirtation and whatnot.
Yeah, it ain't all.
And it was a guy that kind of fit the description, like SD said. He was short, chubby, you know, not really popping like that. And he was infatuated with a cute chick in the office, and I don't know if she warned him or if she went straight to HR about the dude or whatnot. But he didn't even make it through training. You know what I'm saying? Like he got walked up out of there. But my experiences, I mean, I guess I didn't even think about it. It wasn't no career job. It was at a
call center.
Yeah, call center. So in my college days, when I worked at a call center,
he was Marcus Crab up in there, man.
I don't know if I smashed more chicks from work or from college, but man, it was lovely how and so easy, because like you said, like you're in a position of leadership. I'm wearing shirts and ties and I'm cologned up and I'm, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm able to just walk around all day and flirt. And so it's easy to pick up on a women that like you if it's something that you're actively doing, you know what I mean? And you know how to engage in the conversation. So I never looked at it like I could get fired over this because y'all flirting with me too, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I never thought about the negative of it.
You catch them last words of that last sentence? Me too. Gotcha.
Well, gotcha. You know, to be fair, it wasn't. We weren't in the meat cereal era then, but
I know, but it don't matter.
You got to be careful now.
It don't matter because they can still go back and say, "Hey, and say, hey, he made me feel uncomfortable back then in '87."
That's 87. You know what's crazy? That's actually what they with some of the beats too. That's actually a lot of stuff they do. Hey, he looked at me crazy. Like it got to the point where I didn't like the way he looked at me.
But you know, it's problematic because human nature. I remember when me and my wife were in marriage counseling, we were talking about human nature, like the answer to whether or not you're going to become romantically involved with a woman gets solved within the first 300 hours that you're around one another, whether that's directly or indirectly. You're going to figure out whether there's a sexual interest or not. And so for coworkers, a lot of times what happens is they start hanging out outside of work, and that's where the office romance is. Y'all went and got drinks, and then y'all went to a club or somebody had a birthday party, things like that, where it's outside of the normal confines, and you see them like, oh damn, you don't dress like that at work, or damn, you don't, you know what I'm saying? Like it's
where got a dome.
Yeah,
where that don't come from?
Where you see a completely different side of the person.
Yeah, I don't even do work events. I don't even go to work events because it's been issues. You know what I'm saying? It's a 90-something% Caucasian rate. People get to drinking. It's been fights. It's been things that happen, things that said. Yeah. Like it's just not for me because I don't want to risk it, and I don't want none of them chicks. Like so, I don't even want to be bothered with it. What's up?
They do the Christmas party at your job and all that?
Every year. They do all types of stuff. Yep. And I haven't been one. I've been... Go ahead.
I don't blame. No, I said I don't blame. I don't blame you for that. Things do tend to happen, especially when alcohol is involved. I don't know if y'all remember that. There was it was one from the military. It was in the Navy about several years back where it was a viral video where there was a fight at the hotel where they had the Christmas party at. So yeah, those things do happen, man.
It was a fight at the job one last year. Dude lost his $300,000 job. He got drunk and he wound up losing his job. Like I don't go to these events, man.
That's crazy.
I don't deal with these here women at work because you know what? I have never seen a woman get fired from the job. I've seen 20 dudes lose their job though. I've seen 20 men lose their job. Yes, and not one woman has lost her job in the process because they always the ones when something go bad or something go wrong, they be like, all right, let me go over here and tell on him. He was the boss, so let me go tell. And now they get paid. And I mean paid, big paid too. So I just don't involve myself with it, man. I don't even ride on the elevator with them by myself. When I go into the office, if they get on the elevator and I'm on that Bible, I get off. I'll take the stairs because I don't want to put myself in no position like that. If I'm working out in the gym or something, if I'm working out in the gym or something, it's just a woman up there, me and her, I'm leaving. Like I ain't staying up there, and I'm gonna put my phone on record in my pocket as I leave. Like, hey, have a good day, and I make sure I say something like, "Have a good day." Oh, you too. Mm-hmm. Like, no, man, I ain't putting myself in them positions, man.
Man, that's a way to protect your best interest there. But you know, it's crazy. The reason why HR will take the woman's side, they're not trying to get any lawsuits. You know, at the end of the day, HR's job is to protect the best interest of the business.
Dudes don't do that. That's why they know women do. I ain't never heard of a dude. I've
seen situations where it's like a fat chick will constantly make sexual remarks towards a dude that everybody can tell ain't interested. Like I've seen stuff like that, but
it's
most
rare.
people wouldn't consider that harassment or not. You know what I'm saying? Like guys,
They just go about their business.
guys are just expected to chalk it up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
but that type of stuff happens, you know, and
I'm sure
technically,
but it's rare.
I guess I think you have to tell somebody that something makes you uncomfortable, and then if they continue to do it, that's where it becomes harassment or whatnot.
But if you don't document it and you tell them that it's uncomfortable, there have been women that'll go and say and flip it, and then go tell and say you was harassing them when you just said, "Hey, I told her I didn't want her coming over me," and now guess who they believe more times than not? The woman.
True.
The woman. They gonna get you up out of there, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it deters a lot of guys from making compliments. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I was gonna say back in the day, that was you smell good. You just said like something flirtatious or whatnot.
That's considered.
Yeah, that's definitely gonna get you a charge in 2024. So I wouldn't even recommend that. I don't know. It ain't no right way to flirt these days that's safe.
Bro, some jobs do harassment training on this stuff, and I've been to a couple, and you can't even say those things like, "Hey, you smell good. Hey, you look good today. Hey, you looked amazing in that dress tonight." You can't even say that no more.
Man, look, all the peppers is invisible to me. They invisible to me, buddy.
There you go.
All right, man. Looks like we up against the clock. We about to take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna be bringing on our guests, and we'll be talking about part of the game, what it's like to be in the dating, in the entertainment industry, and how that impacts your dating life. Y'all are tuned into the Ho to Husband podcast. We'll be back in a minute. Hi, I'm relationship coach and author Terry Duran, and I am pleased to announce that my book, It's Not That Complicated, is finally available as an audiobook. So if you don't like to read, or you just don't have time to read a paperback book, this audiobook is perfect for you. You can listen to it while you're in your car, while you're at work, etc. In the book, I break down how husband material men think and operate in regards to sex, love, and relationships, and I provide real quality insight on how husband material men approach dating. The audiobook is available on audible.com and on iTunes. All you have to do is go to one of the websites and search for my name, Terry Duran. Go download your copy today. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Ho to Husband podcast. We got our guests on for tonight. We got my man, Rico Love. What's going on, bro?
What up? How y'all feeling?
All right,
man, we doing good, man. We appreciate you taking the time to come chop it up with us, man. I think we're going to have a real good, interesting conversation. But before we get into that, man, can you let the audience know a little bit about who you are and your background so they can know where you're coming from?
Oh, my name is Rico Love. I'm a songwriter and producer, executive. I started my career off as a rap artist in 2004, and then I ended up writing a song on a Confessions album for Usher, and it kind of led into this career as a songwriter. So, you know, that's how I kind of like imprinted myself into the business, but it opened up many doors for me to do a plethora of other things inside of the realm of music.
That's what's up, man. It's interesting to see that your first songwriting experience was something so classic. You know what I'm saying? Like Confessions, that's one of the high peak R&B points of my adult life. So big shout out to that. I can only imagine how much love you got after the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, it was a lot of love.
They playing all the songs on the radio right now from Confessions.
Yeah, and it's crazy because, you know, I've done several Usher albums, but an album I did called Looking for Myself ended up going platinum after the Super Bowl. And then, you know, other records that I've done that weren't even singles, they became platinum and gold and things like that. So the streaming world is even though I don't think the monetization is all the way right, I think it's the gift that keeps on giving, because you can always just go and stream the records.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
So the first thing I wanted to ask you, how has been a part of the music industry or the entertainment industry, how has that impacted your dating or your relationships?
I think being a part of the business I don't think that's so much the biggest thing. I think it's the access and the resources that it allows you. For instance, when it was at one point in my life where I had 2 Phantoms, you know what I mean? And I think that when you drive a certain type of car, you wear a certain type of thing, it gives you a little bit more access to women. Like you don't really have to do as much as, you would have to do otherwise. So for instance, I pulled up at a light and I was in my Ghost, I could just put my phone up to my ear and look at a girl and she is you know what I mean? And I mean that, and when I say these things, I'm just saying them because I'm not a braggadocious person, but I just tell you the access that it gives you. And I think people misconstrue the business for that, because there's so many people in the business who don't have the luxury of moving that way. It's all about how you decorate yourself, if you will. You know what I mean? Like, so I kind of was a person who, and still a person who carried myself a certain way. And then over time you build a brand for yourself, and then you're recognizable and people understand and they can Google your net worth or things like that. Then it becomes more of, it becomes a little bit more scary, because now people will, because I'm a person who's I've been on the scene and I'm kind of a well-known, established person, but I'm still behind the scenes. For majority of my success is behind the scenes. So people can really act like they don't know who you are sometimes. And that's a little funny too, which you most times can tell when people are acting.
Yeah, you right. You know what? One of my guys in the NBA, and I went to a party with him, and he drove his Phantom, and I rode with him, and we pulled up, and the chicks was like, they beeline towards us. That didn't work when I was in my Honda. When I was in my Civic, they was like,
it's funny too, because I was the other day. This literally just happened this weekend. I was my kids had a basketball game and one of my cars was down, and then I had to rent a car real quick, and I rented. And all they had was like full size, so I had like a Honda. And I was riding around in it, and to me, I'm just moving around. But I noticed you could feel the difference in how people interact with you. You know what I mean? Like I was noticing, I couldn't notice it before, but you could feel it. Like people like, I'm like, what's wrong with? Oh, they don't see you in a fancy car, so they kind of like they don't treat, or they kind of overlook you. Don't look the same as when you pull up. They just like,
energy and vibe be different.
Yeah, it'd be different. And you don't notice it until you see, you sit in the other car and you're like, oh shit, it's different.
Yeah.
So
it's
what about
from a Honda to a Mercedes?
So how does it impact your dating? Like when you or are you in a relationship now, or when you're in a relationship? How does those same things, does that create insecurity? Does it create a lot of jealousy? How does that impact dating when you try to be with one woman?
I think that I've made mistakes that a lot of people make. We go for a certain type, and it's all about, and I really want to break this down. People assume that a 9-to-5 or a regular working woman is not my type, which is insane, because I just love genuine people who are about getting to know me and want to see my qualities. But the problem is availability. So if I'm moving around a certain way and I want to see you, and I want to see you here, blah 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 blah. Oh, I can't because I'm doing this, I'm working, or I can't because I got my kids this day. I can't because I do this. The girl who's available is going to be, she's more available. So a lot of times guys will go for that. Now I'm 41 years old now. There was decisions that I made as a 30-year-old or 25-year-old that I don't make as a 41-year-old. What I mean by that is this: if a girl who is a low quality woman is available, I'm still not making myself available to her. But in the past, you would make yourself available for who was making yourself available to you. So you'll go for a certain type. So when you ask me dating, like, you usually fall into this system of women who literally first date expect you to, after you hang out, like, imagine if I take a girl to Turks, or if I go to Costa Rica and I'm taking a girl with me. 2 weeks after the trip, all of a sudden her life is falling apart. You know what I mean?
So being she's trying to get more resources out. You're like, hey, like trying to give you a sob story. Hey,
that's
short on rent.
So it's like
somebody dying. Huh?
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm gonna pay this.
Yeah, I let my friend
draw begging
$3,000, and she done pay me back, and now my rent is due. It's like, first of all, women don't loan their friends $3,000. That's not
I doubt it.
And you know, all that. So those type of things start happening, and people look at you and they stop looking at you as a person, and they look at you as like, okay, wow, now I finally got somebody who can help me. And I think that we go into, in today's dating world, we program women with our music. You know, artists are guilty of it. We program these certain types of women, the BBL look, the long weave, the fat ass, the big. We kind of program them into believing like you shouldn't have to work. You shouldn't have to do this. You shouldn't have. Now when they meet you, they like, well, it's gonna take this much to get with me. Or they dated one guy who did all these things, and now they assume that everybody should behave this way. And then you look up and you're like, well, damn, well, how you always single? Like if this is the standard, you should. It's a disconnect going on here. Like, you know, why is it that you always available? It's because the man with the resources. I've been in that position to want that, because I'm not interested in those things like I once was. But I remember being in a situation where I'm like, well, if she give it to her, but just know that it's so much easier to get rid of her because I've done for her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, these young dudes these days ain't learned, like they getting them knocked up. They knocking up 40-year-old thoughts and like, come on.
But that's not a. By the way, that's not a new thing, guys. You know, this has been happening for a long time. I think the social media has made the thing that's always been common. It's put it to
out in the open.
But NBA guys getting girls pregnant who was old, a lot older than them, a lot more seasoned than them. Sports guys been doing that since years. You know, like that's a normal occurrence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you know about it. But did your taste in women had to change? Like from being in the industry so long, you get to see some of the baddest women, and also in the same process, some of the most trifling women. Like, has it made you be like, man, I don't really want the baddie now. I want a regular chick that's still nice, but
I think I can have both. But I will say that my opinion, my taste in women has always been the same. I've always desired a certain type of woman. It's just when I started realizing I could have them, that's when it was like, oh wow. I remember when I was when I got down, I went to FAMU, and I remember when I got off the plane and was walking around campus being like, what is this? Like, how is it that she's built like this? This is back in 2000. This before BBLs. This is before BBLs. Yeah. So this is in 2000 when it was like just, and I couldn't believe that it was all these ass and waist, and I was like, what is going on here? So I started winning talent shows on campus. I started becoming popular, and I started realizing that these type of girls that I was looking at was actually looking at me because of the attention that I had. This is before money, it's before resources. And I started realizing like my taste didn't change, it was the access. It was the opportunity to be able to get those girls that change. And then you kind of start leaning. And again, we lean towards the girl who we had access to. When I came up in the game I got discovered in Atlanta. So you gotta understand, this is the end, like in the BMF, you know, but I'm right there when Young Jeezy, BMF, Meech, you know, all those guys. I was in the middle of that. Yeah, so you outside and you start realizing like, I want to hang out with the girl who can hang out. I remember a time when you call a girl at 3 a.m, she'll curse you out. Like, what you calling me this late for? But these are my studio hours. This is when I'm leaving the studio, and I'm just thinking about you. But then if you call the dancer, she's up. And you say you want to go get something to eat. It's Atlanta in 2002, 2003. And they like, yeah, let's go meet up at blah, 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 get something to eat. They're available. So you started running in these circles. When I came up in the business.
I never thought about that.
When
that makes a lot of sense.
Jagged Edge was the guys who first discovered me before Usher. And I remember being with those guys, and they would only hang around with dancers. And we didn't understand why until Jermaine Dupri told me this. He made it make sense. He said, this is where I hang out. This is where I can go after I leave the studio that's still open. This is where I can go to get inspiration in the middle of the night. I'm in the middle of the session, I'm vibing, we kind of hitting the wall, let's go to Magic City. And then these girls are the girls we see all the time. So they become a part of our community. So now they're a part of your community, and you start hanging around them, and they to the point where we go to regular clubs and wouldn't know how to behave. We would be like, what do we do here? We
ain't no titties.
We go to the strip club and we be more comfortable because it's the icebreaker. Hey, I got money, you want to dance? Come dance with me. Now we chatting. We talking, we catch a vibe. then you go into other settings and you're not as comfortable. So that's when I believe in the music industry, that world, those two worlds, the dancers, the strip club, the nightlife with the music industry kind of cross paths, because these were the people who made themselves available for us as we're 9 to 5. Now everybody moves like a dancer. Now it don't matter who it is. You tell a girl you're going to Africa tomorrow, her bag is ready. She ready to go. You know what I mean? So, you know how many girls you meet now, especially post-pandemic, who work from home, who like, I work from home, I can move anywhere, I can go in, I can do whatever I need. So, you know, it was always about access though.
And that's great context you provided behind that.
So why do you think that a lot of these here entertainers and athletes, why do they date the same woman a lot of times? Is it because of the access that they let?
I'm so happy you asked me this, because I explained this to a young lady the other day, and she, you know when I said this, a light bulb went off in her head, and she was like, "Wow, I'm gonna explain it to you like this. All right, you've been watching this girl on TV your whole high school. You've been watching her in high school. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe I really want to get next to, let's say, Lisa Ray. Like, I want Lisa Ray so bad, right? Because that's my era. When I was in high school, Lisa Ray was the hot thing, right? So I'm like, oh, I want to give Lisa Ray. Now, fast forward, I got 6 of the biggest records in the world. I got 2.5, 3 million in the bank. I got, Ferrari. I pull up and I jump out the car. I'm fresh. Usher jumps out, give me a big hug. Diddy, he give me a big. I see French, I see Fab. Everybody like, yo, Rico, what up? And who walk out the back door is Lisa Ray. Right. So you like,
that's wild.
Oh my God, I've been wanting to meet her since I was a kid. And now, not only she walk out the door, and by the way, Lisa Ray is never, I'm just total disclaimer, I never dated Lisa.
But you gotta do that now.
Yeah, you gotta be on the blog some more.
Me too, stuff.
But what happens is you see her, and now she sees you, and then not only does she see you, but she give you a look like, what's up? You like, what? I've been wanting you since.
How can you resist that?
Yeah. So a lot of times people don't understand the simple math of it. It's like all these NBA guys, when they go to the game, who has access to be at the game? Who has a relationship to be in that space? The girl who used to India Love, and the girl who used to be with Game, and the girl who used to be with this one, she's there, and I've been watching her since I was in college playing ball. I've been watching her since I was in the studio at my homeboy's apartment writing rhymes. And now I have access. Not only do I have access, but I actually had a conversation with her, and she biting. I'm throwing out the bait, she biting. What? I've been wanting to do this for a long time. And then she's figured out what to do, what to say to make me comfortable. She's figured out how to come and make me feel. See, these girls are so smart.
Well, let me ask you this before. How can the artist tell when it's a finesse or when she's genuinely interested?
See, the problem with the allure of the game is we all feel like we just all in the same game. That's all it feels like. It don't feel like a finesse. It feel like this is a community I'm in now. We exist in the same space. So she's comfortable with me because of my lifestyle. I'm comfortable with her because of the allure of who she is and who she's around. So the idea of it being a transaction, it can be in the front of your mind, or you can be in a space where it is what it is. Like, I got something she need. I'm the hot new young up and coming guy. She got something I want. And the crazy part about it is you fuck around and be vibing with them. That's the part that people they miss out on. Even when you talk about the Drea situation, I met Drea a few times. Bro, Drea cool as fuck, bro. like people say what they want about whatever. I've hung around her, bro. She's so cool that I could see a young guy hanging with her and be like, am I tripping? Or she cool as fuck to hang around. Like I've never dated her, but I've hung around her and I thought, damn, shorty funny as hell. She's smart. She gets my jokes. She tells the funniest jokes. She know how to, and then on top of that, she cook for you, clean for you. She gonna take care of you. She make you feel like I can't fault no young guy for making that move. I can't look at him and say, why y'all dating the same? This the girl in his space. You know what I mean? And she's a joint in real life. You think she look good on TV? She's a joint.
Well, that's a lot of that context definitely adds a lot of layers to it, because from my perspective, I always thought like I went to Southern University, so that HBCU experience where it's such a competitive environment with the other guys that to be able to smash the fine chicks when you ain't got shit, you had to be on your game, you know what I'm saying? Like, or at least bring something to the table. And so I always was thinking, like, why can't one of these dudes that got money go find a bad chick that's in an engineering major and change her life?
They got them. A lot of guys do that. A lot of guys do that. It's just that that's not the thing that's going to be on television. You understand? Think about the percentage of guys that wife up these type of women. It's this much a percentage. But that is the thing that's on camera. That's the thing that we're going to see the most. Think about that. If we even think about this war between men and women, it's really the comment section. It's really like 6 guys going back and forth with 6 girls, and they just so loud that we think that this is the consensus. Like when people are like, this whole feud between men and women, it's no big feud between women. It's just the comment section, and it's the loudest people that prevail. So then what happens is we leave that conversation that we just observed, believing in our mind that we have to have our defenses up. We have to be prepared for this. There's a bunch of guys who ain't got a pot to piss in, telling the girl she a gold digger. There's a bunch of women who ain't got nothing, telling guys that he broke. And then it's a circle of them talking in a group chat. So I think that a lot of times we believe that things are happening, but they're not the way you think. Like the guy who got the engineering major, there's a lot of them. They live down the street from me and they're a happy couple. You know what I mean? It's just that they're not on TV talking about their relationship all the time.
Rico, I want to ask you a quick question. Since, yeah, that's great. You mentioned gold digging, and you've been in the game 20 plus years. So how has gold digging evolved since you've been in the game?
See, the thing that gold digging, it changed. It was a lot trickier back in the day. See, before it was like she got to finesse you. She got to make you think that she's a sweetheart, and then boom, she gold dig. Now it's a prerequisite. Now you literally will meet a girl and she'll say, if you ain't doing this, then
cash at me.
And then what happens is, I'm gonna tell you who ruined the game. Scammers. Because if you imagine if I'm stealing, all right, if I ran out of the grocery store with a bunch of food I stole, and somebody was like, yo, bro, give me a slice of bread. I'm like, yeah. Right? If I run out of sacks with a bunch of clothes that I stole, somebody be like, yo, bro, give me a pair of shoes. You're like, yeah, take it. I just stole this. That's what scamming is. A scammer is like, I need a Chanel bag.
They don't care.
Cool, give her a Chanel bag. Right? Oh, I need this. Cool, I stole this. You know what I mean? I'm stealing, right? So what happens is a generation of people, of guys, and people blame the women. And I'm not, by the way, I'm not no Derek Jackson.
Just taking it.
I just say the facts is facts, right? But people blame a lot of times the women, but really it's the suckers who put them in a position to make them feel like this is the norm. A woman's idea of who a man should be to her is going to be either her biggest love or her biggest heartbreak. Now, the guy who she loved the most is going to be like, oh, it could be the guy who bought her everything out of high school when she was 16 years old. He was 20. He bought her a car, gave her a watch, put money in her pocket every day. Now she's walking around saying, this is the standard for me. Or the guy treated her like shit, and now she's accepting guys who treat her like shit. So a lot of times the scammer has made it so that women are comfortable saying, because by the way, if you got nothing to offer but money, you're a sucker to me. If you got nothing to offer but money, if you're saying to a girl, I remember I seen a guy at Lenox Mall. I had to have been about 20 years old. And a guy walked up to a girl and a bunch of girls. This was a sloppy, fat, dirty looking motherfucker. Yeah, he walks up to him. He says, what's up, man? We shopping and gonna get something to eat or what? He walked up to like 5 different group of girls. These girls was bad. And I heard him. We were in a Fendi store. When you walk into the Lenox Mall, if you know Lenox Mall, you walk in, the Fendi store is to the right when you walk in from the entrance. And he was in the Fendi store. I'm in there. And he walked up to a group of girls and he said, what we about to do? We gonna shop and get something to eat or what? What we doing today? And they was like, yeah. And he said, everything they want. Let's get it. And he got them. He took them shopping. And I'm sure he took them to eat. And I'm sure he took them to Magic that night. I'm sure they did. And I'm sure that he did everything he wanted to do to whichever one or all of them, right? So what happens is now when a girl sees or senses that you have something, in her mind, she'll say, either you're going to do this for me or I'm going to find somebody who will do it for me, right? And then you are looking like a sucker, which we know we not suckers. Real nigga know he ain't no sucker. But if you're looking like a sucker, they'll try to make you feel like, oh, you ain't doing this, you's a sucker, right? And but the power that guy has who did all of those things, The power that gives him is this. As soon as she out of pocket in any way, as soon as he wake up one day and decides I don't want no more, no guilt. Nothing in his heart is gonna make him feel, I'm out. Don't call me no more. Don't talk to me no more. You ever see a beautiful girl crying over an ugly, dirty nigga? You know why? Because he's dogging her because he know why she's there, right? He knows exactly.
I never even thought about this. This is really interesting.
That's why I always tell people the power is in how you move and maneuver when you first meet a woman. If I'm dealing with a girl and I feel like she's a high quality woman and she's super cool, but I'm not sure if I want to deal with her, I won't sleep with her. I will not sleep with her.
That takes discipline, man. A lot of guys ain't got it.
Why? Because I want to be able to walk away from the situation guilt-free if over time I'm not feeling it. But if I do sleep with her, now she can create this narrative. Not saying they all do, but she could create a narrative of, oh, you just wanted to have sex with me.
You took advantage of
the bad guy.
So what you got to do is, these guys move the exact same way. I gave you some money. I bought you this. You didn't know me. The first day I met you, I flew you out to blah, blah, blah. First day I met you, I bought you a bag and I hit you in the car. First day I met you, I blah, blah, blah. You used to bring your homegirl. So now in his mind, he like, I don't have no guilt towards not fucking with you ever again because you just like everybody. And if it is not me, it's going to be somebody else. Think about it. When you see a girl private every week, when you see a girl on trips, you see a girl with Chanel bags all the time, Chanel bags is 12 to 25,000 now. The low end on the Chanel bag used to be 5 to 8. Now the low end on the Chanel is 12 to 15. You know what I mean? So you got to look at it. If you see a girl, new Chanel bag, she ain't working, she got new shit. In your mind, you feel like, oh, I can handle her any kind of way. I can handle any kind of way because I know she don't have value. She don't value me. She don't value the relationship. I'm just a guy who's this weak. So, but that's the easiest part about dealing with them is that you can walk away quickly because you don't feel no type of way. Cool. If I don't deal with you, somebody else won't deal with you. But if you find a good quality individual, you'll move different. You don't feel like, man, I can't do it. She cool. I fuck with shorty. Blah, 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 blah. I'm not gonna do it like that. You know.
How do you find that though? How do you find that good quality woman in the industry and with the resources that you have? How do you find that woman that ain't just there for you?
The mistake that we've all made, and a lot of guys who in my position have been in the position that I've been in, is that we go for that type of girl that was available. The patience come in. But at the beginning of the show, I said, what I do now at 41 is different than what I did before. Now at 41, I'll talk to a girl and only want to deal with this one particular type of woman. And when she's available and I'm available, I'd rather deal with her. That's how you find them. Because they right here, they're everywhere. Bro, it's great women everywhere, just like it's great men everywhere. The problem is the loudest ones is the ones they want to go for. There's a small percentage of guys who making a certain type of money, and these girls want to all get with that girl. Yeah. There's a small percentage of girls that look this particular way that guys like. It seems like it's a lot because of Instagram. It seems like everybody looks like this, but it's just that they're so upfront on your Explore page based on what you're searching every day.
And they get their attention. You know what I mean? Like I guess from a guy perspective, it's hard because sexual attraction is natural. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to teach yourself how to respond to it or how to control it. You know what I mean? And a lot of guys situations where they, like you said, they come from nothing. Now they got the bag. Now they able to show the jewels, show all the stuff that makes them a target for this type of women. So I guess it's kind of like a cycle that we see going through. But the only problem is that nothing about that really lifestyle seems conducive to long-term success.
Exactly. On both sides, bro. Because think about it. Like I said earlier, you look at all these women who moving like this, they all still single. I know girls, when I was coming up, I was 17 years old going to strip clubs. And I know some girls, they still dance from when I was 17, I'm 41, and they still single. You might see them in a relationship for a little while. You might see them dealing with a guy taking trips. You might see them engaged for a little while. Time go by, they back single. It's a certain pattern, a certain cycle, and same thing for men. Like we go through this cycle and we start moving a certain way, and then we end up not dealing with those women long term. There is no longevity in fluff. And even if you stay around, there's no happiness in it. and fluff. Unless you're really dealing with somebody based upon that value that you want to add to them and the value that they want to add to you, an equal partnership. Because a lot of times people think that there's something wrong with seeing wanting to gain something from a relationship. The problem
That's
is
how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, the problem is when people assume that they should gain something without giving anything. Just like when women, they haven't, Steve Harvey goofy ass saying that shit about women ain't got to bring nothing to the table.
Ain't that
That's
crazy?
the dumbest thing you could
Right.
ever teach you. That's the dumbest thing you could ever teach a woman. Not because, and the problem is that they associate a woman bringing something to the table with a man saying that she got to bring money or she got to bring this.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I'm a person who believes in
Value.
paying all the bills, right? That's something I do. But guess what? If I see a guy who go 50-50 with his woman and that work out for them and they investing and they moving like that, bro, that's incredible for them. That's their thing. But if I'm gonna pay all the bills, then you got to make sure that you got a nest egg for us. You got to make sure that we stacked up. You got to make sure we invested in some. You got to make sure that you running some business for me. You got to make sure that you adding some type of value so that we're growing on this end. While I'm working here doing this, you're adding a certain type of value. Even if a woman is a housewife and she taking care of home and she cooking and cleaning and making sure I'm eating. You know how much money you save if you got a woman who cook you dinner every night?
Mm-hmm.
You know how much value it is for a woman, for you, when you don't have to send your kids to a babysitter because your woman is home and she's taking care of the kids, when you don't got to send them off to these different places. You know how much value that is, how much money that saves. It's something to that. But you have to understand a partnership is about give and take. The problem is when these women feel like, I want to buy Chanel bags all day, I want to post trips, and I want a nanny to take care of the kids, and I want to have to do all this. And then you're going to work, and then I'm just going to vacate, and we're going to party, and that's going to be the pictures we take. No. What are you doing to add value to us? Not to me, to us, to our situation. And then what am I doing to add value to us, to our situation? That's the problem. People don't want to see that. They want a wedding, they don't want to be married.
Facts. I have one more question I wanted to ask you before we get up out of here, man. With how social media is, how or what is your philosophy on publicizing your relationship? Like, are you going your next relationship where you going to be having your woman in your stories, or you going to keep it a secret for the most?
Yeah. So initially, at the end of the day, it's all about the preference. I would prefer to keep my business private, but I also gotta be honest. I'm all about accountability. So in the beginning, it was kind of in the middle. I posted my ex, I would post her sometimes. And then when I would be like really outside and really, moving a certain way, I wouldn't want to post her. I didn't want to, you know what I mean? That was the cheater of me, you know what I mean? The cheater of me. But then I also, no, to be fair, but then I realized that it don't matter really if I post her or not. They're gonna go anywhere, right?
Anyway.
So then I was in that space of like, and then I got to a space where the notoriety that was given to my ex was causing people to get in her ear and say certain things. Oh, I saw him here. I saw him doing this. Now, sometimes it was true. Sometimes it wasn't. So what I started realizing was, for the parts that was true, I got to own up to that. But even for the parts that wasn't true, I introduced that type of lifestyle to make it so that somebody could tell a lie on me, right? And y'all know how it is. We see what's happening to post. Like anytime is a little bit of truth, now we can open up a bunch of lies and everybody's going to believe everything because that one part was true, right? So what I say with social media, if you're going to be a faithful man, if you're not going to cheat, which I in my next relationship, wherever I decide to be with, I'm not going to cheat. I made that decision a long time ago. I don't have time for it. It's it's a waste of time. It's just too much hassle at this age. I don't have time for the back and forth. So I made a decision that I'm not going to cheat. Now, being that you're not a cheater, I think it's safer to, if you want to post your girl, to post, because ain't nobody in there to, you know what I mean?
It's a lot easier to do.
It is. If a person decides, because a person can lie too still. If a person decides that they want to make that decision to not post, sometimes it's more about the piece of, we ain't in no drama, we ain't in nobody's business. I saw an interview with Ice Cube the other day, and they said, how you stay married so long? He said, we keep our business to ourselves. You know what I mean? You don't see him. You don't see him and his wife, everybody, everywhere. You don't see them, Nickelodeon's Kids Choice Awards, red carpet, and the Oscars red carpet. Other than that, it's quiet, it's hush. We keep to ourselves, we keep to our family. I think that a quiet life is the best life, in my opinion. But I also have to hold myself accountable to a lot of the problems that was caused because of visibility, was because of my own wrongdoings. And even when I stopped doing those things, they haunted me. So
yeah, you got to keep the lies hidden.
Yeah.
All right, man. Look like we over the time limit, but before we go, man, can you let the audience know where they can find your music, where they can find your content?
You can follow me on Instagram. I am Rico Love. I have a song crafting course that I've been doing all over the country. We've been teaching and educating people on music. Say what up to my dog. We've been teaching and educating people on music, and going around the country doing that. So lock in on the Preneur app. I think that it's really important for us to engage and educate people on the proper ways to write and develop songs, proper ways to develop artists. I'm also the chairman of the BMC, Black Music Collective, with the Grammys. We're doing a lot of great things in the communities. I've been partnering up with some incredible initiatives to help bring awareness to music and make sure that Black voices are seen and heard. And what I would like to leave everybody with is accountability is such a beautiful thing. I'm gonna tell you why. Because if I'm responsible for what I did wrong and you're responsible for what you did wrong, then the conversation is no longer about who did what. The conversation is about where do we go from here. And that goes in all things. If we're talking about trying to still prove what you did wrong and I'm still trying to prove what I did or you did wrong, we lost. But if I did and you can acknowledge what you did, the next conversation is what do we do from here? So I think that a lot of times people don't understand that in relationships, why, and not just relationships with men and women, just relationships in general. It's more about if I can own what I did and you can own what you did, now we can make a decision on how we want to move forward. And in life, that's important.
That's what's up, man. Before we go, I want to give another shout out to my man, Brother Soul Productions, for keeping us laced with our background music. I want to remind y'all to continue supporting the podcast through our Cash App and PayPal. JSD, man, I appreciate y'all linking up so we can get this done. And Rico, man, this was really enjoyable conversation. I'm really interested to see the feedback we get from some of the nuggets you drop, man. I appreciate it.
That's love, bro.
Thanks, bro.
This has been another episode of the Ho the Husband podcast, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.